Imagine a city where tens of thousands of people gather to voice their opinions on a highly contentious issue, with some calling for stricter immigration controls and others advocating for inclusivity and diversity. This was the scene in London recently, where a massive anti-immigration march and counter-protest took place, sparking heated debates and raising important questions about the future of the United Kingdom. But here's where it gets controversial. The march, organized by the anti-Islam activist Tommy Robinson, was met with a counter-protest by the Stand Up to Racism campaign group, highlighting the deep divisions within British society. As the crowds gathered, one thing was clear. The issue of immigration has become a powder keg in British politics, with far-reaching implications for the country's social fabric and economic future. And this is the part most people miss: the complexities of the immigration debate, which involves not just questions of national identity and border control, but also issues of free speech, hate crime, and community cohesion. The Unite the Kingdom March, which drew supporters from across the country, was billed as a celebration of free speech. But critics argue that it was also a platform for anti-Muslim rhetoric and xenophobic sentiments. As one supporter, Sandra Mitchell, put it, "We want our country back. We want our free speech back on track." But what does this really mean? And who gets to define what it means to be British? These are the questions that were on everyone's mind as the protesters clashed in the streets of London. The Metropolitan Police deployed over 1,600 officers to manage the crowds, including 500 brought in from other forces. And Commander Claire Haynes emphasized that the police would approach the protests without fear or favor, ensuring people can exercise their lawful rights, but being robust in dealing with incidents or offenses should they occur. However, the police were also aware of a record of anti-Muslim rhetoric and incidents of offensive chanting by a minority at previous protests, which raises important questions about the limits of free speech and the need to balance individual rights with community safety. As the debate rages on, it's clear that the issue of immigration is not just a political hot potato, but also a deeply personal and emotional one, with many people feeling strongly about the need to control borders and protect national identity. But others argue that this rhetoric is not only divisive, but also based on flawed assumptions about the impact of immigration on the economy and society. For example, many economists argue that immigration is essential for filling labor gaps and boosting economic growth, while others point out that the vast majority of migrants come to the UK seeking asylum or to join family members, rather than to take jobs from native-born citizens. So, what's the way forward? Should the UK prioritize stricter border controls and deportation policies, or should it adopt a more inclusive and welcoming approach to immigration? And how can we balance the need to protect national identity with the need to promote diversity and community cohesion? These are the questions that we need to be asking, and that's why we want to hear from you. What do you think is the best way to address the issue of immigration in the UK? And how can we build a more inclusive and cohesive society for all? Do you agree that the Unite the Kingdom March was a legitimate expression of free speech? Or do you think it was a platform for hate speech and xenophobia? Let us know in the comments.